Good evening. Welcome to Military Strategies. We are live right now. Israel under ballistic missile attack, Iran under attack from the United States and Israel. And Kharg Island, the crown jewel, the key to the end of this war is at stake with the United States Marines, one of the toughest, best trained, and most lethal military forces in history. The Marines are currently preparing for the largest invasion of an island since World War II. Now, here on Military Strategies, all the details, what it would be like, how it would be done, how and when the island will belong to Donald Trump. Family, your likes, your comments. This is Military Strategies. We're going all in. Let's get started. Strategies. Family, very good evening. Welcome to Military Strategies. 20 seconds until we're attacked. Missiles on the way. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. The night is starting, the show is starting, and we're already under attack. It seems that Iran was actually waiting for us to start. 17 cities. We have objects in 17 cities. We set off the alarm. The night begins, family. Negev begins the... The night begins. They're going to attack Dimona, missiles to Dimona. Missiles to Dimona, we probably won't see anything because the missiles are going to Dimona, but we're under attack. Welcome to Military Strategies. We're live right now. Hello to our friends from Beersheba. The other day, Iran launched a cluster munition attack. Iran killed 4 people. We could even say up to 5 because one girl was 6 months pregnant. No one has said anything on TV. No one has commented. They are silent victims of this conflict. Why? Because they are Muslims, they are Palestinians, and that doesn't seem to sell. The narrative in Western media is that Israel is massacring everyone in Lebanon and in Iran. Welcome to Military Strategies. We are live right now, and we will be sharing information soon. Thank you. About what happens, so everyone stay calm and welcome. I've been to the doctor. Well, I'll tell you just some personal things. I've been to the doctor. They gave me a big shot of I don't know what. Maybe Mossad put a microchip in me or something like that. And maybe something strange will happen to me soon. I have a demonic possession, I don't really know, but I dedicate myself quite well to the experience. I hope the pain goes away. I still have the pain. Honestly, it hasn't gone away. It's obvious. At some point, I'm going to have to stop doing live streams because right now, I'm not at 100% and I'm okay. But obviously, there are things we need to see and we need to talk about. Kharg Island. At this moment, an amphibious combat group is heading there, none other than from the United States of America. It's not a joke, it's not a story, it's not a fantasy that the United States wants to settle this war. One way or another, that's a reality. For that, we already have more than 1,000 Marines getting ready to head to the Persian Gulf. Iran has made a predictable defense strategy. Everyone expected Iran to close the Strait of Hormuz. Nothing new. It hasn't surprised anyone. Even though Kani said today that there will be surprises, even though Kani said today that there will be a series of complicated situations, that's not the case. That's not the case. According to Reuters sources, in this case, Iraq has declared force majeure at all oil fields developed by foreign oil companies, citing an ongoing conflict, including Iranian attacks on the energy infrastructure of Gulf countries, as the reason for the measure, according to the report that cites officials with knowledge of the matter. Given the situation, the ministry ordered a total production halt in the affected concession areas with no compensation as per the contract. That's a lot of information I just mentioned, and I'm going to explain it very quickly to start summarizing it. Everything. Oil well or oil operation. Right now in Iraq, as of March 21st, 2026 at 1:20 in the morning, it is no longer being exploited by any foreign company. Iraq has just effectively dealt a blow to the contracts of companies from the United States, companies, European companies, French companies, from the United Kingdom. Iraq has just shut down its oil wells right now. Right now. They've shut them down so they won't be attacked. Iran has told its subordinate, which is Iraq, right now I'm shutting down the oil wells, or I'll blow them up. The bully of the region, as Donald Trump says, the neighborhood thug, whose name is Iran, scaring all the countries in the area, the European Union, NATO, are still pushing up daisies in some places. This is happening right now. News from just now, right now. En este momento. Karos welcomes you. There will be a lot of information that we're going to see. We're going to talk about that invasion. We're going to talk about topics that haven't been discussed. Currently, there's no information about the attack in Beersheba, the Negev, or Dimona areas. For now, a nuclear explosion, which I know some people would love if there were nuclear explosions and radiation all over Israel, turning people into zombies. At the moment, we don't have any of that. Sorry to disappoint you, it's not your night. Obviously, that's how it is. Before we get into Kharg Island, we need to look at a few things. Why is Kharg Island necessary? What does Kharg Island mean? And what can be achieved by conquering Kharg Island? What is its price? Kharg Island is the largest and most important refinery in Iran. From this place, tankers are filled with fuel that is then sold around the world at a low cost. Then, which brings Iran a hefty profit because they don't declare that money on the international market. They sell their oil outside the international market while other countries look the other way. This is unfair competition. They sell it at a much lower price than the market. But it helps them, among other things, to finance more than $7 billion in ballistic missiles and drones. Something that could go to their people, but obviously doesn't. Because the top priority, the urgent need, the most important one, so important, Iran, but it's not that important. Iran is to destroy Israel, the United States, and the infidels. No, those who have a lover, those who don't believe in Islam. Let's say the terms. It's just that, let's see if someone is going to think that the infidels are the ones who are, or go with another, a second partner, third, fourth, fifth, sixth partner. No, that's not what it's about. That's not what it's about. So, Kharg Island generates a lot of money. Without it, Iran can't export, can't do anything. More than 30 million barrels of oil are stored in its facilities. In these mega tanks, you see light oil, which is used to make fuel. A few nights ago, the United States bombed the island. The United States broke. The island's anti-aircraft defenses. Donald Trump announced it. He said he had more or less spared the island because he says he could have wiped it out at any moment. Sophia. Donald Trump. Are we changing the cover? Looking at the name now, I want it written correctly. You know that I'm terrible with names and spelling because I haven't written in Spanish for many years and it's really hard for me. Of course, there are things there that really stand out. How the hell Donald Trump is going to send in an expeditionary force of Marines, no less, to capture the island? How is he going to do it? How is he going to do it with few casualties? And how long is he going to keep the island? What are his intentions? And if possible, if it can be done, well, this program is going to air tonight. It's going to be about pure military strategy, and so people can understand what this story is about. While information about the attacks keeps coming in, like that missile that was launched against Bedouins. Since it's already hard for them to get missiles through the center, we're going to get information about that attack. Step by step, so please be patient as updates arrive. We'll cover breaking news here and discuss all the details in military strategies as they come in. Kharg Island is not just any place. New in military terms in the war against Iraq. Iran was already attacked at the time, it also suffered those attacks, and it also endured a series of harassments. You can leave the shelters now. The all clear just sounded. And that island? Well, obviously it means a strategic point, not just in the Persian Gulf, but on a global level. By having Kharg Island, you control all the oil in the country, which has one of the largest reserves, along with Venezuela and the United States. Before this operation began, the operation in Venezuela had already started. Now things are starting to make sense. First Venezuela, then Iran, and after that Cuba. Without the island, the economic rivals of the US are left without oil. China, for example, is going to have a problem because it will have to buy on the international market at the same price as the rest of the buyers. And that will mean nothing more and nothing less that they won't be as competitive. As a result, China's products will become significantly more expensive. In addition to that, Donald Trump will also recover the money he is currently spending on this military operation by controlling the export of hydrocarbons from Iran. The same way he's doing it in Venezuela, and he is doing it, and he will keep doing it. So, with that, we already know that a significant part of the money of what is currently being spent on more than 8,000 munitions deployed against more than 8,000 targets, is it going to be recovered? All of that with an island? Regardless of whether there is an economic agreement or not, or whether the regime is going to survive or not, the island will come under the control of the United States. Of course, we were discussing how Iran has done something interesting to prevent ships from passing through this area. From here, right next to the coast, imagine a tanker here. Coming. We're now in the Strait of Hormuz, we've left Kharg Island up above, and we're focusing here on the key point of this whole story. Because, of course, to invade the island, you have to bring in naval units. At least you should. There are other options, but normally you need amphibious ships to get in there, which are in the north of the Persian Gulf, the oil bathtub. Sure, you might say, well, what if they come in close through here? With an amphibious team, a destroyer, a couple of destroyers and landing ships really close together, to the coast of Oman, getting as far away as possible from Qashm Island. Looking here, a bit of distance, well, about 50 kilometers, something like that. They could come in through there, they could cross through there. Well, then we have a problem. Iran has placed mines. What you're hearing, Iran has dropped mines in this area that you're going to see here. Over 50 kilometers. Have you seen the movie 300, right? Through the marine Thermopylae. These are the marine Thermopylae. Are you serious? Sorry for laughing. You know I'm sarcastic, but this is Thermopylae, the wall of Thermopylae. This place is full of mines. They've put mines there. Iran. For ships to pay money to pass and get authorization, they have to cross through here. Seven kilometers 7. We're going to paint this in red. That's why we saw the other day how an oil tanker had to cross, go around Larek Island, and continue on its way, avoiding passing through the mine barrier. Smart, isn't it? But not only that, Iran, from their hidden ports, the ones we've said have been bombed, but not with much success. Let's look for the ones that are down here. From those places, they have managed, by going out with fast boats, to attack ships that are anchored all around this area here. In fact, we saw how there were traces of fire from the satellite image. So, the United States first has to launch a mine-sweeping operation to clear these 50 kilometers here. In conditions where they're gonna be launching drones and missiles at them like there's no tomorrow from Iran's second or third line of defense? That's why, nothing more and nothing less than that. Through this area here, they have drone launchers, they have underground facilities, subterranean, they have a lot of places. That's why the other day the B-2s were bombing around this area, or was it by Bandar Abbas? That's why the area has been destroyed, the port area of Bandar Abbas, the military one, and that's why the silos in Bandar Abbas. These ones we see around here were here the other day, being destroyed. All because the Strait of Hormuz has to be opened. You can't take the island if the Strait of Hormuz isn't opened. And for the minesweepers to work, they need to have anti-air cover. And to have anti-air cover, they're going to have to bring more planes, more anti-air ships, a destroyer, a cruiser, missile launchers to provide cover and anti-air defense for the operation. A dangerous operation. First point, once the United States breaks through the entire Strait of Hormuz, it has control of this area, which, be careful, could involve deploying soldiers on some of these islands. This is not crazy at all. On some of these islands, US soldiers could be deployed to ensure that no more boats pass through there. Then you can head north towards Kharg. That is, if the amphibious landing route is going to be used. There are more options, I see this as quite far-fetched, not very realistic nowadays given the situation. First, because the B-52s, we've seen them today, and they were still bombing with cruise missiles. They haven't even started dropping precision bombs yet. Does that mean there still isn't total air superiority? If this area was already completely free of anti-aircraft defenses, well, with the B-52s you could really do some damage and clear out a few beaches. Yes, you could do that. Obviously, this island, Qasem Island, is full of pits, natural pits. Well, Iran, none other than our dear Iran, has used works of art from nature to create pits and missile launchers, and a bunch of issues that are not going to make it easy. Although lately we've seen that what is being used the most are attack boats, so they probably don't have any more anti-ship missiles to launch, because for that they need to activate a radar. To launch an anti-ship missile, they need to have either a drone in the air or a radar on the ground. It needs to detect the ship, guide the missile to a distance close to the ship, and then the missile can activate its own radar to search for and hit the ship. If that happens, if a radar is activated, it can be detected by a P-8 Poseidon aircraft. And it is attacked and destroyed. There is no longer any danger, so they can no longer use naval missiles. Now, what they can use are drones and boats. How do you protect against drones? I'll say it again, with ships equipped with anti-aircraft defense. How do you protect against boats? With air power? One thing leads to another. Drones too, you protect them with air power. Both things. All right. We have that over there. First, we need to open Hormuz. It's useless, this thing about going in through here, sneaking in. It's no good, man. I don't think they're going to make a tunnel. I don't think they're going to drop them here. 4 nuclear bombs, like someone was saying the other day, I don't know, on YouTube. They said no, they're going to drop a couple of nuclear bombs and break through here. And that way they can cross. And dreams and fantasies in the movies war on the battle map, on the battlefield. All right, let's leave that topic as it could lead to a long discussion like opening the Strait of Hormuz. But now let's go to Kharg Island. This is the important part here, what people want to know. How is this island going to be taken without destroying it? Because, of course, you don't want to destroy it. How do you take it? There are forces. What's the number of people defending it? Where are they? How many are there? Well, we're going to explain this here in military strategy. Family, we're live right now. Please, your likes are super important. You already know that. Without it, the channel won't grow. We're nearing 500,000, and it's essential. I'm terrible at geography. I'm really bad at geography. Even though it might not seem like it, I always failed it. I'm not going to tell you why. I failed it. Emilio? What happened the other day on Kharg? Was this happening? The other day, Kharg Island was attacked. An attack operation was launched on the island. For that, munitions were used, launched both from the air and from the ground. ATAK-MS missiles were used to attack the anti-aircraft defense. The airport was attacked. Anti-aircraft defense, arsenals, and airport. Take a look at this image. You can see the munitions exploding. You can see the munitions up here in this area. Let's watch it again. It's impressive when an attack miss hits. It's impressive. It's absolute madness. Pay attention to the detail I want to show you in the frame because it's very striking. Really, it is. Are the anti-air defenses destroyed? At this point, look here. You see here? You're going to see here how they're starting to explode. You see the munitions, how they start to flash and get destroyed. The airport runway and the warehouses. Airport runway and warehouses. Let's go to the map to see why that's being destroyed. What's the point of all this? Why aren't the ports, the docks being destroyed? Why isn't that being destroyed? Does it make any sense? Will there be... Look, we need to distinguish something on the island. The southern part of the island is the industrial part, the northern area, East, it's the civilian area, military zone, and airport. The northwest area is the military and electricity zone of the island. Let's start looking at it differently. I think it's important. Second, we changed the map, and now we're going to see it differently. In this map, we have to keep several things in mind. One, options, elevations, strategic points. And targets of opportunity. Kharg Island, how to take it. It gets interesting. Let's do it. If Donald Trump has bombed the airport, it's because he doesn't want reinforcements to arrive on the island. It's an island that, according to the information I have, doesn't produce the supplies it needs to survive. That is, there is no food, there is no drinking water for the entire population. It has to be brought in by boat or by plane. There are no army divisions. And it is protected by the Revolutionary Guard and the Navy. This is the port of the Revolutionary Guard Navy. Those ships have surely been destroyed. These ports are not touched. They are the oil ports. But there's a problem, a serious problem. Kharg Island is too close to the coast. That's right. Kharg Island is too close to the coast. It's too close to Bushehr. Under Bushehr's anti-aircraft defense umbrella, it could have been defended with anti-ship systems. It could have been defended from the coast, but all of that is gone now. It's disappeared. All these anti-aircraft systems that were placed on the island right next to it, don't work either. They're not available either. This area has been swept clean by Israel and the United States, so no defense will come from Iran. The island is alone. There is a garrison of the Revolutionary Guard, fanatics who are willing to die to the end, who will defend it. What options do we have? The airport runway, we already know it's not operational. It's been destroyed, so landing for an air assault on the airport is not possible, not with a C-130 plane. Careful, we still have air combat options, and I think that's where things are going to go. By the way, this is one of those Revolutionary Guard boats out on patrol around the island. The urban area should be avoided. There are civilians, there are many streets. It would mean going into a war, a kind of little Vietnam, which is not in our interest. The important thing is to secure the facility so that it isn't destroyed in some kind of sabotage either. Or the regime's self-destruction. We have port availability in this area. We can see the docks and landing zones here. These areas here, these beaches can be used for landing, but they have a problem. They are on ground that is too low compared to the terrain up here. Notice, even if you don't see it much, but there is a difference in the terrain. The island is between 70 and 80 meters high. It's not a tall island. But here in this area, obviously, a defense could be set up by the jihadis of the Revolutionary Guard. So maybe this area is not so beneficial. In the first stage, in the first assault, maybe this area is not advantageous. because you get in here into a hole where they'll fire mortars and throw everything at you. From the city, probably from that area because the distances are very short. It's 2 kilometers from the city to that gap. From there, it's about digging in. You have to look for space. You have to find an area that quickly gives you a tactical advantage on the ground. An area that is far from civilians and also ensures the ability to generate electricity for the island, to supply the island. This area we see here, the one with the plant, is perhaps one of the areas with the highest chances. To start a ground operation on the island, that would be one. We avoid something important, not facing the mainland Iran. There's another option. There's an island right next to it. On this island that's not defended. Teams can be deployed and then make the jump with amphibious vehicles to the island. But we have a problem. If Iran has deployed anti-tank weapons, they would be within range. 4,000 meters to the beachhead, to the airport, 4,000 meters in a straight line, 4 kilometers, is not useful for us initially. If you want to do it by surprise, the entry has to be with aircraft. After a bombing. Operation Caracas, a bombing is launched over areas of the island. They start bombing again these areas. We've seen the areas where the Revolutionary Guard is. Again, the airport area. A kind of distraction is created in this whole area here, and the troops arrive flying at low altitude from some of the allied countries. It could be Kuwait, Saudi, it can be used, it's a trip from Kuwait. Of 200 kilometers. From Saudi Arabia, 200 kilometers as well. And that it would be possible. I see more of the Kuwaiti route, Saudi, this area from Kuwait. You attract a lot of attention. All those helis heading that way, you attract a lot of attention. However, the other day we saw a Chinook helicopter flying in this area. We also know that the SOAR teams, the ones who worked on the Maduro operation, are already in the Middle East, an operation 200 kilometers away with aircraft. The Ospreys, the Chinooks, the Little Birds, all of them launching an assault on this area. It's likely everything would start in this area. From here, the assault would extend over here. Why over here? Why to this area? The same one that was bombed the other day, because it's the high ground from this mount, from here, from this elevated position. You have control over everything coming from the city, everything behind you, and everything in front of you. It's the highest point. In the preview, we see it there. It's this area right here. In fact, in the video we were watching, this area appears. This area we're looking at. Look, here you can see the ground, the shadow it casts, and where there's vegetation in the upper left part. That area is this one. This hill here, right above the destroyed bunkers, there are no longer weapons there that can cause harm. It gives you a great advantage. A very, very, very great observation capability allows you to cover this whole area to secure it. Be careful, because if you take the power plant, you could leave the whole island in the dark. That's why the operation will likely be done at night. Using technology with night vision goggles, like in Caracas. Helis. From the sea, they unload all the personnel, all the Marines, and begin to secure the area. Once that area has been secured, then they can start sending more and more logistics, Keep advancing to the facility and secure it. Avoid the civilian area, that is. Avoid that area. There we see it. Nothing should be able to approach. Nothing should go beyond that point. Right at the high ground. Anyway, we have to be honest. With this, the island's resistance will be very weak. Very weak. The biggest threat isn't that. The biggest threat is that Iran starts bombing it with missiles and drones. For that, they're going to have to deploy point defense systems, the same ones they have in Baghdad, for example, at the embassy, in the Green Zone, CRAM systems that are mobile. They can be transported by air. Maybe a Chinook could carry one of them with some mobile station. Maybe it could carry it. There must be a way. I'm sure it can be done once this is under control. The island has fallen. Once the high ground is taken, any defense on the island won't be useful. Besides, those are troops that aren't qualified for that kind of operation. Unlike other islands, Kharg Island isn't protected against an invasion. I'll give you an example to make it clearer. And so you understand? Iran has a lot of islands, many, and on many of them it even has trenches. Let's look around here for one. So you can see, not this one. This one doesn't work. Look at this one. They have foxholes and caves around there. More areas to set up, machine gun nests. They have bunker areas. Defense rings, a kind of mega trench. Here, along those roads. Kharg doesn't have that. Doesn't have it. Kharg Island doesn't have that. For example, we see these islands here. Es aquí, fijaros. This one, for example, this island is designed to withstand an amphibious assault. You see here this trench, the bunker that you enter over there. There's communication throughout the trench. It's reinforced with reinforced concrete. There are pits for machine guns, for mortars. It's made to stop an invasion, but this doesn't exist on Kharg. It exists here. Esta isla. This one we're looking at is called the Greater Tomb. I don't know why it's called that, but that's what they chose to call it. This island is very well protected, with foxholes, with trenches. We see it again here to prevent that invasion. Kharg Island doesn't have that, so Kharg Island, from an operational point of view, for the United States, is a gift. They won't have to face these kinds of defenses, right? I think they're pretty clear how this island is protected. Why? Because this island is in the center. This island is to control the Strait of Hormuz, to control all the traffic that goes through there. They are interested in it, and obviously they want or wanted to have it very operational. In fact, look here at the fast boats with missile launchers. History. It might even have an underground bunker. It must have one 100%. And it may have ballistic missiles and countless other things, but this isn't Kharg Island. So they are not going to face that problem in any way. United States. When will Donald Trump give the order? I think he already has. Donald Trump. The operation began when he bombed the anti-aircraft defenses and cut the island's communications. The island is probably rationing right now. in minimum consumption mode for food, drink, and water to endure it. The island is under siege. Nothing comes in, nothing goes out. Planes are watching 24 hours a day to make sure no ship gets close, and if one does, they sink it. It's going to fall. It might fall. It might fall. It could possibly fall, and it's going to fall. Family, share your comments in the chat. We're live now. Thanks for joining us, for your super chats, and for sticking through this sermon. I know that maybe this show isn't as explosive as it usually is. Fridays are maybe the best day to talk about these kinds of operations, these kinds of things that are important. When can this start to happen? Let's say that Iran is playing with fire, attacking Saudi Arabia. It's attacking Qatar. It's attacking Persian Gulf countries. Trump has already sent the Boxer battle group to go from the Pacific to the Persian Gulf. That group is probably going to focus on clearing and securing the Strait of Hormuz. But the assault on Kharg isn't going to come. It's surely going to come from that battle group. I think we should forget about that idyllic scene from World War II, about vehicles. I'm going to show a couple of photos that I put together with the help of artificial intelligence, but used properly. You have to know how to use this, not to say nonsense. But it's quite interesting. I'll show it here so you can see some of the amphibious assault doctrine that the United States uses. Some things are applicable on Kharg Island, others are not applicable because they are not going to happen, they are not necessary. It's a small island. It's not Mallorca. It's not one of the Canary Islands. It's small. I think it's 60 kilometers, not more, nothing else. Let's look at this diagram. Let's go over the situation. First, it has to be bombarded. Clean the area, clear the area. The area has to be cleared of threats, mines that may have been placed on the beach. Explosive traps, machine gun posts, anti-tank ammunition posts, anti-tank launchers, those are very dangerous in a landing operation like this. The ships, when they launch the amphibious landing vehicles, those vehicles are a bit slow in the water, they're faster on land, but slower in the water, making them more vulnerable to an attack. With an anti-tank missile launched and guided by laser or optics by television, you can see will visually guide the missile to it. We have seen how Iran has the Almaz missiles, which they can launch from a long distance, from 10 kilometers. That's why I say it's a complicated issue to launch an attack, an amphibious assault, just like that, without having coverage. First, because the ships won't get there until the Strait of Hormuz is cleared. So we can remove that part, the part about fortified enemy positions, and also the upper one we have there, because there are no fortified positions on the island. Iran hasn't built them. I had never thought about it. I had never considered that it could be invaded. Notice that the biggest fortification inside the island is this point we see here, which is an anti-aircraft battery, an anti-aircraft cannon that's not even there. We can see the cables here from the battery. A little more. There's not even a trench or anything here. It's nothing like what we just saw 2 minutes ago. On the other island, on a different island, so no, you can't do it here. Do anything? Here's another pit for an anti-aircraft cannon. We might have a silo or something around here. You can see something here. Another one for an anti-aircraft cannon, so the island is protected. Drone attack, an air attack? But that's already wiped out. It no longer exists since the United States destroyed it, so that threat is gone now. Going back to the photo, what they do is obviously move quickly toward the beach land, take advanced positions, and assault the enemy's resistance positions. They do it with cover from combat helicopters. They cover with helicopters. At the same time, they use artillery, like the Atakemes, for example. Or they can use, if there is still a ship in the Persian Gulf, a ship that can launch naval artillery. They clear it, take the position, secure the position, and then logistics and vehicles start to arrive, and everything else that comes after. Which, said like that, sounds easy, but it has its own story. Obviously, as you've already seen, the Iran operation has taken months of preparation. I would even say that those B-52 bombers we've been seeing in Venezuela these past months weren't carrying out an operation for Venezuela. They were preparing for Iran. In fact, the trips they're making go from the United Kingdom to Iran, covering thousands of kilometers, and now from Diego Garcia, it's 5,000 kilometers. It essentially covers the same distance used to travel to Venezuela and back. Everything is starting to make sense. But it would surely be for another program to talk about how to take these islands here, because this scenario is completely different. This is a totally different story. This is a much bigger island, the Keshem Island. We only have civilian population in this area, which is the tip, this little tip here, the southern tip. Then we have residual population in other places. More looking towards Bandar Abbas, right in front. We have small towns, just a main road. We also have hydrocarbons and also hydrocarbon refueling stations. But the rest of the island is a desert. It's a desert where there are hidden, I insist on this, there are hidden tunnels, wells, missile launchers, and a lot of stuff. This island is a challenge. Keshem Island is a challenge. Much bigger, much more complex. But we'll talk about that another day. Let's look at the situation. At the moment, there are no victims in that last attack. No victims are known. Right now, let's look at breaking news. Sorry that we haven't shown many videos. We haven't done that. Mega explosive. Sometimes things are like that. Not everything is explosions and so on. Vamos. What's going on with the money? The Office of Foreign Assets Control of the United States Department of the Treasury has issued exemptions that temporarily lift almost all sanctions imposed on the vessels. Tankers originating from the Islamic Republic of Iran or carrying oil from that country, called Authorization for the Delivery and Sale of Crude Oil and Petroleum Products of Iranian Origin, loaded onto vessels starting from March 20th, 2026. Valid for vessels loaded before 1200 hours. From March 20th, 2026 until 1201. On April 19th, 2026, do you understand this? The Office of Foreign Assets Control of the Treasury Department, that is the ones who carry out the seizures of those ships that are later raided around the world and so on. They have just lifted the sanctions on the Islamic Republic of Iran's oil tankers that transport oil from that country, so that they can sell it. Missiles, so that they can sell it. Let's see where. Galilee, Upper Galilee. Let's set up the camera while we're talking about this. So they can sell it and cross the Strait of Hormuz. They have reached an agreement. This could change everything. An agreement allows Iranian oil tankers to leave in exchange for releasing the others. Starting March 20th. Effective for vessels loaded before 12:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on March 20th, 2026 until 12:01 p.m. on April 19th. They are given 1 month. They have 1 month. to sell oil. They'll start calling this a surrender. The United States is buying time until the arrival, until they prepare the assault. Oh my God. Wow, what a video we have here. What a video. They just attacked again with drones. The United States Diplomatic Center at the Baghdad airport. We have video. Oh my God. The night is getting lively. Wow, wow, wow. It's really getting lively. Let's watch it. 1 second. There it is. Well, there's something burning there. Something's burning. Baghdad. The Revolutionary Guard has issued an evacuation order for Ras Al Khaimah in the north of the United Arab Emirates, urging residents to evacuate the city immediately. The area is going to be attacked shortly because it is being used to attack Iran. Well, let's see where it is. Let's see Ras Al Khaimah. Ras Al Khaimah, well, this area, oh my God, these guys are crazy. Let's see, these guys want, but. We have a photo, right? This isn't some crazy military strategy. They've lost their minds. These people want to evacuate all of this. They want everyone to leave the city. And why? So they don't open the Strait of Hormuz? And right after that evacuation order, the document appears stating that the sanctions are lifted. There isn't any United States base there. There isn't any United States base there. This is simply pure unadulterated propaganda, plain and simple. It's pure unadulterated propaganda. I wouldn't really buy this, you know? Ras Al Khaimah. You can't evacuate that. How would you even do it? They're crazy. They're crazy, but it all makes sense. They think someone will try to open the Strait of Hormuz. But to me, this note about lifting the sanctions, it doesn't sit right with me. Let's look at the note. Someone has to explain this, right? POTUS has to explain this. What kind of game is this? There's the note. Let's take a look at it. It's true. It's authorized. Authorization is granted to send and sell.
This is shocking, huh? This is total shock.
I don't know, but some people aren't going to like this. Some people aren't going to like this. It could be pressure from China. It could be pressure from China. And look at what Donald Trump is going to say to him. Look at the Strait of Hormuz about careful, because Donald Trump, let's see, this is okay. Okay, he's a strategist.
It's not surprising 3 young men were executed for protesting.
Will you escort those planes through the Strait of Hormuz, with or without souls?
We're doing very well there. We're doing very well everywhere. You know, we don't use the Strait. We don't use the United States.
He says the United States doesn't use the Strait of Hormuz.
The United States doesn't.
We don't need it.
Japan needs the Strait, China.
Korea, Japan, China.
From others. So they'll have to get a bit involved in that.
He says he's going to have to get involved in this. I think what Donald Trump just did is a textbook move. I lift the sanctions against Iran's ships. I let Iran's ships move freely, and now I tell Europe. Well, there you have it. The ships are not sanctioned by me, they are sanctioned by you. But also, the Strait of Hormuz is still closed to your ships, but Iran's ships keep operating. And those ships are going to go to China and North Korea and all those places, but they're not going to go to Europe. And Europe is going to keep having the problem. Meanwhile, Donald Trump's ships will arrive in the area of operations in 15 or 20 days. They are in combat position and can launch the assault. Be careful, maybe. Those expeditionary marine troops are used to recover uranium. The 400 kilos, which could also be... It's just that there are a lot of stories here. I'm serious, there are a lot of stories here in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of all this. Trump is up to something, he's plotting something. He's always one step ahead, he knows, he already knows. Trump already knows what's going on. The damage at United States bases
In the region amounts to 800 million.
He's up to something. POTUS is up to something. By the way, we have an image of the Beersheba missile. We have an image. Let's take a look. It seems that it has been intercepted. It broke. Their missile broke. Well, that's good news. There are no victims. There's nothing to mourn. Today they haven't killed any Palestinians, any Jews, any Christians, any Arabs. Maronite, no one. Who knows? Who knows?
The thing about Trump, I think it's going to
Be a final blow for NATO, for everyone? I think so. Well, look at the tensions this is reaching. The Danish armed forces had drawn up detailed plans to blow up airfields in Greenland in the event of an invasion by the United States. The soldiers sent to Greenland were equipped with blood supplies and explosives to disable the runways in Nuuk, the capital of Greenland, and Kangerlussuaq, a small town in the Arctic Circle, according to 2 European officials who spoke to the Broadcasting Corporation. Poor polar bears and poor whales. Oh my goodness. Man, if the United States leaves NATO, well, they could invade you. Greenland? For example, it's a small example. And let's see, how do you say no to them? Family, too many things on my mind, too many wild ideas, and I need to rest. Let's go before they start launching missiles, the alarms go off, and everyone has to get to whatever bunkers you have. Have a very good night, family. Thank you so much for being here, for putting up with us. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you so much, really. I hope this program gives you some insight into the current military situation in the Strait of Hormuz on Kharg Island, and that it will be beneficial for the future. When it happens, let's come back and watch it again to see if we were wrong or if we got it right. I hope that's the case. Take care. Have a very good night.